Hey everybody, welcome to Bura Tech. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about why Craigslist is the company you want to model to make the most money possible. Alright, welcome back. Before I start this video, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe. The more likes and subscribers we get, the more content we can make. So, I get a lot of emails in my inbox about people's ideas for companies. Now, please don't send them to me because I really don't want to read them. Not that I do enjoy talking to people, it's just that I get so many of these, I really just don't want to. So one of the things I constantly hear is people trying to get a startup idea to get a lot of funding. And that is not necessarily a bad idea. I can talk about the pros and cons about getting VC funding because sometimes it's really good and sometimes it's not really good, but that's not really the scope of this video. I want to show you how you can look at Craigslist to make your company the most profitable with the least amount of work. Now, chances are most people have gone to Craigslist. Now, I have hired people off of Craigslist. I found my amazing apartment on Craigslist, and I have purchased and sold things on Craigslist. And I think if anyone has been in the world and tried to do any of these things, you've at least heard of Craigslist. Now, Craigslist can vary from city to city, but believe it or not, Craigslist is one of the best companies out there. Now, when it comes to starting your own product, you want to build something that's very simple and easy to use. And Craigslist is exactly this. If you look at Craigslist, it's very simple, it's very easy. The website doesn't look flashy, it's very utilitarian. Now, I love Craigslist because it's so simple. It basically just connects people, which is what the founder initially wanted. All he wanted to do was connect people with other people. He lost his job, got a severance, and then started Craigslist. He sent an email out to about 10 or 12 people, and then it grew from there. One of the things about running a business is that when you get some kind of traction and you listen to your customers and you just simply do what the customers are asking, then business will be better for you. And the whole point of starting a business is to help people. The more you help people, the more money you'll make, and Craigslist is probably the best example of this. Now, if you look at Craigslist, it doesn't look that good. In fact, I teach my web development students to do a way better job than Craigslist, but do you really need it? And the answer is, well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. If you're going for a very stylized aesthetic, then yeah, you have to do something a little bit more. But if you're just going for something that works, then Craigslist is a very good example. Now, Craigslist doesn't actually tell people what they make, but there are some estimates out there. If you go to Wikipedia, it says they make about 500 million, 600 million, somewhere in that range. But some other estimates say it's closer to $1 billion. Now, if you look at Craigslist and you say this makes $1 billion a year, you'd probably say that that's unrealistic. Now, you're probably also thinking that Craigslist is mostly free. Well, how do they make money? Well, they charge for certain areas. For example, if you want to post a job in certain cities, they charge you maybe 25, 50 bucks, etc. There's a bunch of other things that they charge money for, such as used cars, and this is how they make most of their money. Now, of course, Craigslist could make a lot more money than it does, but it doesn't need to. It's very profitable. And here is the coolest thing about Craigslist. It only has about 50 employees. So let's just say it makes $500 million a year, the conservative estimate. Well, that's about $10 million per employee. Now, at the beginning of this video, I said that there's a lot of people looking for VC funding. Well, I look at a lot of VC funding companies and they are incredibly wasteful with their employees. Whenever you hire an employee to do something, they have to be 100% useful because business is very tough. And Craigslist does this. Now, there's a lot of other companies that received VC funding that have tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. They're not profitable and they have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 employees. Why do they need to do that? Well, they can always look at Craigslist to say, well, you should only hire the people that you absolutely need. Now, this is something that you should absolutely strive for. You should strive for the most amount of value for the least amount of work. And there's no better example than Craigslist. So if you follow this channel, you're probably into entrepreneurship, making money, and coding, and probably technology as well. And one of the things that technology has is a lot of capital behind it. But technology is also incredibly useful. You should focus on being very useful because if you're very useful and people like it, all the other dominoes will just fall into place. So when you're first starting out, you don't want to be optimizing your pitch deck or trying to find some parameters that you need to tweak to just get more money. You should be focusing on helping customers and scaling right away. Because again, if you do that, everything else falls simply into place. And Craigslist is again the best example. So every day I look at companies that are getting funding, and I'm in the e-learning space, and thanks to COVID-19, there's a lot of e-learning companies getting funding. And I look at some of the companies getting funding and how much they're getting funding for and how many employees they're hiring. And because I run an e-learning business, I know exactly how many employees should be able to do what. And I'm looking at these other companies and I'm thinking, how are these people even going to work and doing anything productive? And then I heard about Craigslist only having 50 employees, and it absolutely blew my mind. So I was absolutely blown away that $1 billion company could hire only 50 people and still be effective. And when you think about it, it really makes sense. 50 people is still a lot of people. 3,000 people is an incredibly large amount of people. Not only is the site minimalist in design, it's also minimalist in its technicality as well. Remember that minimalist sites load quicker, and this is absolutely good because you don't want people waiting. So if your website is on the top 200 websites, which Craigslist is, not only is large wait times bad for the customer, it's bad for business as well because your servers have to actually go and supply that website. So this goes to Craigslist's core philosophy, just simply help out the user. And we haven't even talked about the mobile app yet. So at one point in time, I realized that Craigslist had a mobile app. It's a fairly recent addition, but I absolutely love it. If you want to sell something, you can just take pictures right there in the mobile app. It's absolutely amazing. Now, mobile apps tend to have a large history of minimalist design, but the Craigslist mobile app is absolutely perfect. It is the best way to get whatever it is you're trying to sell or whatever it is you're trying to do out there quickly, and it is very good. So if you're into mobile app development, I highly recommend downloading the Craigslist app and checking it out. All right, so that concludes this video. I want to know your comments. Have you used Craigslist? If you really like Craigslist business plan, please post below, because I did some research on Craigslist and I was absolutely blown away at how amazing it is. And of course, I'm here to share that with you. So if you really like this channel, you can subscribe to Mammoth Interactive's huge library of content. We release 20 to 60 hours of fresh new content per month every month. Our goal is to get to 10,000 paid monthly subscribers on Mammoth Interactive. If you can do this, you can help us be one of the best e-learning companies out there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.